It's not like he's
Adam Silver's NBA empire is trembling. In the shadows, the king just signed off on something dangerous, and the league office is feeling every single shockwave right now. Yacht summits in Saint-Tropez, Serbian power brokers pulling strings, and billion-dollar rumors across Europe have the commissioner's collar feeling very tight. The Lakers drama and the Serbian tie. LeBron James is banking a $52,627,153 salary for the 2025 season. That massive paycheck marks the final chapter of his current contract. Back in June of 2025, LeBron triggered his $52.6 million option. Rich Paul made the big call. Clutch Sports sealed the deal, and LeBron guaranteed himself a 23rd season, an achievement no player in basketball history has ever even touched. When the buzzer hits on this current run, Bron enters the 2026 summer as a total unrestricted free agent. No more options, no safety net, just the open market staring him down. Pay close attention here, because this is where the global chessboard gets wild. The Lakers still hold his bird rights. That means they can offer a max deal near $60 million without the salary cap nightmares that would paralyze any other team in this league. But insiders claim the Lakers are the heavy favorites by a long shot, yet a max contract would totally cripple their ability to surround Luka Doncic, Austin Reeves, and Jackson Hayes with the talent they need. Now, the rumor mill is buzzing about a Cavs homecoming for one final dance, a Golden State Warriors ring chase, a Knicks gamble, or taking the $15 million mid-level exception to join a real title contender. Everything is on the table, and that table is getting crowded. Hang on, because while Los Angeles deals with this drama, there is a massive operation brewing in Europe that has the NBA head office taking notes. Meet Project B. It is a global tournament-style pro league launched by former tech giants from Facebook and Google, Grady Burnett and Jeff Prentice. The women's debut season runs from November 2026 through April. The men's division is coming right after. Think Formula One-style touring, free YouTube streaming, and multi-million-dollar salaries with equity stakes for every single player on the roster. 6 teams, 11 players each, with stops confirmed in Tokyo and Valencia, and plenty more cities waiting in the wings. The link between Project B and LeBron James? Maverick Carter, LeBron's lifelong partner and the Spring Hill CEO who has managed the Kings' business since they were kids back in Akron, Ohio. Carter consulted for Project B in early 2025. He left when they focused on women, but returned in March 2026 to lead the charge on men's global recruitment efforts for the league. His team claims Maverick is just a friend to the founder, with no official title or executive power. But does Maverick Carter ever move without the LeBron empire watching every single detail? Enter Misko Raznatovic, the Serbian super agent who represents Nikola Jokic and the EuroLeague elite. He has more power in European ball than actual federation presidents. This is exactly who the Project B investors hired to consult on their new league. In July 2025, a photo emerged of LeBron, Maverick Carter, and Misko relaxing on a luxury yacht in Saint-Tropez. When that image hit social media, every NBA reporter on the planet started hunting for the real story. Misko himself went on the record about the project. Project B is incredibly ambitious and, honestly, completely different from anything we have seen in basketball until now. Completely different. Those are the super agent's literal words. He joined that yacht meeting after investors told him they needed his deep European knowledge. On a Serbian podcast called 6.75 Range, Misko laid out the entire massive plan: pure business, a group of wealthy investors building a league with European style that would, in his words, directly compete with the NBA. He called the whole structure a total revolution, because for the first time, players will not be signed to individual clubs. Players do not work for teams. They play for the league itself. Ownership, paychecks, a touring circuit, this whole machine is turning the old sports model on its head. And Misko, was just getting started. Athletes compete for the league itself. It is a massive shift. It is completely radically different. That is how the super agent sees it from his powerful new role as a lead consultant. When those investors reached out to him, their instructions were sharp and incredibly blunt. Misko says he chatted with Maverick Carter often, landed a consulting gig, and then Maverick suggested lunch on a boat. The catch? LeBron James would be right there at the table too. During the front office sports tuned-in summit event, the commissioner called Maverick a friend and admitted he knew about Project B's goals. He gave a calm answer, but his words held some serious hidden weight. If they are trying to build something that competes with us, I have kept my distance. It is their right to start a league. Trust me, running one is brutal, but a little competition is healthy. It keeps us sharp. Competition is good. At least, that is how the commissioner is spinning it. But let me tell you something right now. When the top boss in American sports has to publicly claim competition is good, he is not just relaxing in some fancy corner office. He is watching his global empire get poked by the richest basketball star alive and one of the most powerful agents in all of Europe. Now let's look at Silver's take on LeBron. Adam Silver has said over and over that he is not ready for a world without LeBron James. Going into the 2025-26 season, Silver brushed off the back issues that slowed LeBron's start. He does not see him as old. He wants LeBron, Steph Curry, and KD to keep dominating the court forever. Regarding the 2026 All-Star Game where LeBron lost his starting spot for the first time in 20 years, Silver stayed neutral. He would not comment on contracts or specific rumors, retirement dates, or the constant chatter about the Kings' looming future. The commissioner is playing the long game here, making sure LeBron stays at the heart of every NBA conversation. Meanwhile, the NBA's expansion into Europe is already in high gear. They are teaming up with FIBA for NBA Europe, eyeing a 2027 launch. Adam Silver is leaving his mark across the entire globe. Starting in 2027 is bold, he admits, but he refuses to wait past 2028. The commissioner did the math. About 15% of the league is now composed of European talent. 15% of the NBA, and that number rises every draft year. Silver wants real parity in Europe, not a soccer-style setup where just 3 massive clubs win every title. At the March 2026 owners' meeting, the commissioner finally explained the plan for collaboration. To improve basketball in Europe, the absolute best result would be for us to join forces with the EuroLeague. Joining forces, that is the goal. They have already met with heavy hitters like Real Madrid and Barcelona. Regular season games are already planned for Manchester, Paris, and Berlin during 2027 and 2028. While Silver draws up the NBA Europe map for the public, that secret touring league Maverick Carter is building keeps, grabbing all the headlines and stealing the spotlight. It all leads back to one big question nobody can answer. When the king finally walks away from the game, where exactly will his empire land? LeBron's big Vegas ownership dream hits a wall. Get ready, because LeBron James has been shouting about his ownership dreams to anyone with ears for nearly 10 years now. The way that whole dream fell apart in March of 2026 is a story you need to hear. Go back to August 17th, 2016. LeBron sat down for the Open Run podcast and dropped the quote that changed everything. His ultimate dream? To actually own a team. That was the start. 1 year later, Bron told The Athletic that owning a franchise would be pretty cool. Same logic, he wanted to stay in the game while putting his people in positions of real power. Then, at the 2019 All-Star break, he dropped a line the NBA front office could not ignore. No maybes about it. He was going to make it happen. No doubt, no stalling. The King was warning Adam Silver that he wanted a team the second he retired from the court, and he began stacking up his money to make that dream a reality. In 2011, LeBron teamed up with Fenway Sports Group, landing a 2% stake in Liverpool as part of a marketing deal. That partnership grew over the next decade. In March 2021, LeBron and Maverick Carter officially joined FSG, becoming the first black partners in that group's history. Pieces of the Boston Red Sox, Liverpool, and stakes across a massive, elite sports portfolio. FSG was meant to be the financial engine once Bron finally launched his NBA ownership bid. Jump to June 2022. LeBron shows up on his show, The Shop, and makes it clear he wants a team in Vegas. That was when the goal narrowed. Not just any team or any city, but specifically Las Vegas. Then, in October 2022, the Lakers head to Vegas for a preseason game. LeBron sees the crowd, feels that energy, and looks right into the camera to address Adam Silver. This is the best fan base ever, and I would love to bring a team here eventually. I want a team here, Adam. Thank you. Thank you, Adam. That isn't just a player talking to his boss. That's a future owner making an opening bid for the whole world to hear. And Silver responded, the commissioner called LeBron's dreams great for the league, saying Vegas would be an excellent location. He even pointed to legends like Shaquille O'Neal holding minority stakes in the past as a precedent. The narrative was on track. Everyone in the league assumed LeBron would retire, launch a Vegas bid with FSG and Maverick Carter, then slide into ownership just like an MVP race inevitable. Momentum built through 2025. LeBron kept his focus locked firmly on Las Vegas. Rumors said he was working hard behind the scenes with partners like Redbird Capital floated as potential backers. The NBA moved closer to an expansion vote for Vegas and Seattle, eyeing a 2028 launch window. Then, in February 2026, during All-Star Weekend, Bron was asked again about his life after basketball. He called ownership one of many options, alongside media, charity work, and other major business ventures. It was still on the table, still possible, and then the floor just dropped out. This is what nobody in LeBron's inner circle saw coming with such force. The NBA wasn't talking about $2 billion teams anymore. The price tag hit $7 to $10 billion per franchise. $7 to $10 billion. The value of current teams had gone totally parabolic. Any new NBA team would pay a premium that made old expansion fees look like Black Friday sales. Numbers like that require a very specific type of investor, and Fenway Sports Group, LeBron's big lifeline, checked the math and the timeline, then decided to pass on NBA expansion. Out. Done. Moving on. A source told The Athletic that with FSG out, it's unlikely LeBron pursues a team now. March 19th, 2026. The Lakers just beat Houston. Dan Wojcicki of The Athletic pulls LeBron aside and asks him the question directly, is ownership still the goal? Big picture or Vegas specifically? And the King, who spent a decade telegraphing this dream to anyone with a mic, looked Wojcicki right in the eye and said, no, he really isn't. Not at all. Not at all. With those words, a 10-year saga got buried in a hallway outside the locker room. LeBron hasn't walked that back. He hasn't softened his stance in any interviews since then. No hints of a reversal. Once the financial runway vanished, the dream got parked in the garage. Now, let's break down the fallout, because this is where the story gets really layered. Across social media, from Reddit to X, LeBron supporters split into different camps immediately. One group thinks it is tactical, a total smokescreen. They believe he is just not leading the bid without actually closing the door on a minority stake later on. Another camp sees it as pure business pragmatism. LeBron's net worth is about $1.4 billion as of 2026. That's a massive fortune for one person, but it won't front an $8 to $10 billion franchise bid. Without FSG or a heavyweight group, the math doesn't work. Lakers and Cavs fans, however, were actually relieved. They want the King focused on basketball, not rushing into retirement just to chase a Vegas ownership dream. Then came the mocking contingent. Critics called it another LeBron flip-flop, same as they always do. Clickbait media only made it worse. Some tied this to expansion politics. Others saw the business logic in not overpaying for a bad deal. Cleveland locals definitely felt the irony given where LeBron's story began. Vegas locals felt the sting of losing that star power. It would have sent the hype machine into overdrive for a new expansion team before a single deal was even signed. Inside the league, the reactions were quieter but just as loud. Commissioner Adam Silver hasn't said a word about LeBron's March 2026 reversal, and that silence speaks volumes. In the past, Silver loved the idea of former players joining ownership groups and welcomed LeBron's interest. But with King James backing out, the expansion process continues on its own. Now, the bidding war is wide open for other massive power players to step in. Magic Johnson's name is surfacing. Bill Foley is in the mix too. Big money groups now have room to breathe without an NBA legend hogging every single headline during the bidding updates. Fenway Sports Group has gone completely silent on the whole situation. No press release, no leaks. This was a cold, hard financial move. Fenway leadership saw no reason to explain a business decision that was already crystal clear to everyone in the room. Major outlets like ESPN and The Athletic are treating this move as a totally logical pivot. Insiders aren't even surprised by the pullback anymore. Analysts agree that losing LeBron kills some of that Vegas expansion hype, but it won't derail the expansion talks one bit. Some suggest LeBron might return as a minority owner later. Once the team is established, he could buy a smaller piece of the pie at a much better price point. The door isn't slammed shut, but it's definitely not swinging wide open like it was just 3 months ago. Here is the truth nobody wants to say out loud. The league office is actually fine with how this played out. A LeBron-backed bid would have been a huge marketing win, sure, but it also would have created a messy power struggle inside that new ownership group. King James would have stepped into the owner's box with more influence than the commissioner himself. He would have been the biggest name in every room. Now that Fenway is out and LeBron's passed, the league can run its expansion play exactly how it wants. No more outside interference, no legacy storylines to handle, and no pressure for special favors. Just pure competitive bidding from billionaires ready to write massive billion-dollar checks without blinking an eye. LeBron's dream of owning a team isn't dead. Saying that would be a massive overstatement. But as of April 2026, his biggest post-career plan is on the shelf. The spotlight is back on the court, where he is still grinding through an incredible 23rd season. And folks, that brings us to the real story. LeBron's actual performance, the growing drama, and the looming retirement talk that follows him every single night he steps on the floor. Season 23 and the big retirement question. Let's talk hoops, because while LeBron figures out contracts and all the Project Braun noise, and these Vegas ownership U-turns, he is still out there putting up stats that would make any 30-year-old jealous. At 41 years old, he's still defying the laws of aging. Let's look at the numbers. 60 games into the 2025 season, LeBron is putting up 20.9 points, 6.1 boards, and over 7 assists a night. He's shooting 51% from the floor, 31% from deep, and 73% from the charity stripe. His true shooting is near 59%. Those are clear all-star numbers. He is still top 10 in the league in assists per game. He's scoring efficiently as the second option to Luka Doncic, the superstar the Lakers traded for to save their championship window. The Lakers finished the season at 53-29, fourth in a brutal Western Conference. They're heading into the postseason as a very real threat for the title. Is this team championship or bust? Well, that is a whole different debate. But LeBron is still the engine for winning basketball. Even with Luka taking the lead, Bron has adapted his game in some fascinating ways. He isn't working as the main ball handler as much. Those screen and roll numbers have plummeted compared to his earlier years in LA. Instead, he's moving off the ball, cutting and spotting up. He's picking his spots on defense and letting his usage rate drop way below where it was just 3 seasons ago. The scoring is a bit streaky now. Some nights he'll drop 28 on just 16 shots. Other nights he will finish with 10 points while the offense flows through Luka, Austin Reeves, and Rui Hachimura. Looking at the advanced stats, his impact remains solid. His efficiency rating is sitting at 20.8. It is good, just not elite. He is clearly proving his worth in a rotation role, but this season has been anything but smooth. Let me show you the turbulence. The trouble began before LeBron even touched the court. Bron started the 2025 season on the bench with sciatica, a nerve issue that needed reevaluating after about a month. He finally returned, found his rhythm, and eventually admitted what every veteran with his mileage has to face. He simply cannot play every single game on the schedule anymore. Load management became his reality. Back-to-backs were strictly monitored. Lakers doctors started making calls that would have been unthinkable 3 years ago. Then the legendary 1,297-game scoring streak ended. It was the longest run in league history. Mid-season, LeBron finished a night with just 8 points. Just like that, over 2 decades of incredible consistency vanished in a single game. For most players, an 8-point night is just another Tuesday. For King James, that low-scoring night was historic because the record that died with it was something no active player has ever even come close to. Next came the All-Star drama. LeBron failed to earn a starting spot in the 2026 All-Star Game, the first time in over 20 years he was not in the opening lineup. 9th in Western Conference votes. His sciatica injury definitely hurt his resume. Plus, let's be honest, his current stat line does not exactly scream traditional All-Star starter anymore. Some analysts crunched the numbers and claimed LeBron was actually the weakest performer among the selected stars according to certain global rating systems. Draymond Green begged Adam Silver to intervene and find a way to get LeBron onto that court somehow, using commissioner power or injury replacements. The situation turned into a referendum on whether his incredible legacy of All-Star appearances, an unbroken chain since his second year, mattered more than the actual numbers on the stat sheet. Then came the officiating issues. 2 major plays put LeBron in the spotlight. Against the Suns, Bron got into a heated face-off with Dillon Brooks, and during that intense exchange, there was clear physical contact with a ref grabbing his arm and applying pressure. By the rules, that kind of physical contact with an official is an automatic ejection. But LeBron walked away with nothing. Another intense moment in a different game sparked fireworks. Fans and critics on social media asked the obvious question, how does the King avoid a suspension when younger players get tossed for way less? Then, the rule change controversy. On his podcast Mind the Game, LeBron suggested the NBA should adopt FIBA rules, 40-minute games, different goaltending rules, and international adjustments. The reaction from the basketball world was loud and very immediate. Critics claimed LeBron was just trying to protect his stats or bend the rules to fit his aging body. Supporters argued that FIBA rules have merit, especially since NBA integration with Europe is already happening anyway. Either way, proposing rule changes as a 41-year-old superstar facing retirement questions every day made him a massive target for sports media. Now, let's look at the other side. Despite the chaos, this season has given us vintage LeBron moments that remind us why we have been hooked since high school. His return to Cleveland became a massive tribute, featuring a pregame video that left LeBron looking visibly moved on the court. After that game, he admitted he cherishes every matchup because it could be his last. He has repeated that sentiment all year, staying present, not taking days for granted, and trusting the process. And those vintage performances keep coming. A 19-point, 15-rebound, and 10-assist triple-double against the Miami Heat. Late-season runs where his jumper is wet, his passes are laser-sharp, and his vision reminds you why he has dominated for 23 years. So, what about retirement? LeBron has been typically evasive, which is just classic LeBron behavior. He says the end is near, but a few more years are possible if he stays in love with the game. He claims there is no farewell tour coming. His most common line is, "When I know, you will know." Basically, he is not saying a word until he is ready, so stop asking. League insiders still claim there is no early exit on the horizon. Word around the league is that LeBron will keep playing until at least the 2026-27 season. Expect a massive celebratory farewell tour rather than a random retirement bomb during the chaos of summer free agency. He is juggling what every aging legend faces: a body fighting off sciatica and the toll of 20-plus years. But Bron says his mind is sharp. It is about family and winning now. He has been clear he is not waiting for his son Bryce to turn pro before he hangs them up. Any talk of him quitting right now is just noise. He has shut that down. Connect the dots. Picture a 41-year-old putting up 27-6 with top 10 efficiency, while his squad finishes 53-29. He is the first to admit he cannot play every night. A legendary streak finally came to a silent end. Between lost all-star spots, referee drama, and that emotional night in Cleveland, which felt like a goodbye, the end seems close, even if he will not say it. The King keeps reminding everyone he will be the one to call it, and he will tell us when. That 2025-26 season is starting to feel like the final dance in Los Angeles. Every game is now packed with tributes, rest days, and constant retirement narratives. LeBron is staying quiet for now, even as his current contract draws to an end this summer. Rumors of Project B are swirling in Europe, while that Vegas team ownership goal stays paused. We are watching the King write his final chapters live, with the entire basketball world tracking every single move on and off the court. Thanks for watching. That's all for now. If you want to see more of these clips, click right on the card on your screen.